This morning, several schools are closed or delayed after heavy rain washed out roads in the area overnight. We'll have the latest ahead.
And schools in Verona have a new tool to help keep kids there safe. We'll tell you how it works.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for waking up with us on this Friday, September 13th. That is right. We're hoping you're not superstitious. We don't have any black cats on the desk. We're doing okay so far.
So far. We still have an hour to go.
It's early.
I know.
It's early.
At least the weather looking beautiful.
The weather is looking
Thank
much
goodness.
better. Yeah, hopefully you're not waking up to water in your basement this morning. We did have quite a bit of rain over the week here in southern Wisconsin, but it has come to an end. Although the flash flood watches have been canceled, there are just a few aerial flood warnings for a couple of counties, especially along the Wisconsin-Illinois state line that were hit particularly hard. Flooding is going down, though, with the rain coming to an end. Here's a look at Doppler track showing you that the rain has moved out of the area. We're not looking for any more rain today. Temperatures will drop a few degrees yet this morning. We'll top only around 70. It is going to be breezy but less humid as we go through the afternoon, so much more comfortable today. Here's a look at your first alert traffic maps here in southern Wisconsin and Madison. We're starting to see a few slowdowns on Stoughton Road and the Beltline. Otherwise, no other major delays to report. I did look around the area. There aren't any accidents. Just be aware that if you run into a flooded road, turn around. Don't try to drive through that flooding. No other delays this morning.
So it's my parents' anniversary today.
Aww.
So September 13th, Friday the 13th.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's a lucky day for them.
Lucky day for them.
It is. We'll have to send them a card. I didn't
there you
know
go.
that.
Yeah,
Happy
33
anniversary.
years, I believe.
Good for them. Wow, that's a big deal these
That is
days.
a big deal. All right,
right.
Hattie, thank you.
You're welcome.
First this morning, a handful of schools in the southwest corner of the state are closed or delayed because of flooding from last night's storms. Boscobel and Wazeeka-Steuben schools won't have class because buses can't safely make their routes. Fenimore schools also running 2 hours late.
This is what it looked like near Dodgeville last night. There were reports of washed out roads in that area with torrential rainfall, lightning, and wind. There were also lots of power outages across southern Wisconsin overnight. At one point, more than 3,000 people in Fitchburg alone were in the dark. There are now only a handful of outages remaining.
Lots of flash flooding in downtown Madison overnight as well. This is video from the area of Gorham and Bassett streets. You can see some UW students actually swimming in the water here. By the way, walking or swimming in floodwaters, a terrible idea. We are certainly not condoning this behavior, but it does give you an idea of how quickly water can build up in those flash flooding events, especially in downtown Madison. Now, our Chris Reese is live this morning from that area with more on what led to all this flash flooding we've seen in the last couple of days. Hi, Chris.
Hello, guys. You know, these right here are some flood boots, and if I were here hours ago, I would have needed them to stand where I am standing. I'm actually in the intersection right now of Bassett and Gorham, which is the video just showed had water in it hours ago, along with students who were out kind of swimming and playing around in the floodwaters. Again, I'd advise you not to do that if at all possible. But one of the things that we've seen as we've gone through the past couple of days is just the heavy rain that's really fallen, and this is the last 48 hours of rainfall, and this doesn't include a lot of the rainfall that we saw Monday and Tuesday, but especially in the southern part of the state, especially in the western part of the state, you've seen anywhere from maybe 2 or 3 inches of rain, upwards to 4 inches of rain. Then towards the southwest, you've seen 5, maybe 6 inches of the heavy rainfall. And I think this heavy rain is just an example of how much moisture we've had in the atmosphere. One of the things you look at are the dew points, and we have had very high dew points for really all week. Even back into last weekend, we saw those dew points being incredibly high. Dew points now across parts of the country still are in the 60s and 70s, folks. These are those dew points that you start to feel the real heavy air. You start to tap into a tropical air mass. And speaking of tropical air masses, well, that's exactly what we had in place that kind of led to some of this flooding. High pressure over the southeastern part of the country drew in that moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and streamed it all the way up towards the Midwest. But the other thing that we had on top of that was a stationary front. It tried to move towards the south as a cold front, but that ridge of high pressure towards the south and east really kept fighting back. So the front stalled out over the upper Midwest and became the focal point for showers and thunderstorms to really develop, and they had a lot of moisture to tap into. So that's the very reason we saw so much heavy rain and there was not a lot of places for it to go because it all kind of stayed along that frontal boundary that we had in place. Now today things are thankfully going to dry out for us, but again, a lot of areas are still dealing with some of the high water this morning. That's why we still have some of those school closings and delays, especially out throughout southwestern Wisconsin. And I just want to reiterate, if you happen to run into an area of high water this morning, of course things are dark as well, always play it safe. Even if you think the water looks shallow, turn around, don't drown, just don't even risk it, folks.
Now, Chris, this tends to be a drier time of the year typically, right?
Yeah, typically you get into this part of the year that things are drier. You start to get more and more of those air masses that come out of Canada, so things begin to dry out for us. But it's also a stormier part of the year. You have more cold fronts that come at times. It's just going to take a moment for us to transition into that.
All right, well, good thing we got a couple days to dry out here anyways. Chris Reese live from downtown Madison this morning. Chris, thank you very much.
More than 4 inches of rain has fallen out in Grant County in just the last 24 hours. For Sean Hines, this rain is getting old. She lives in B-Town between Lancaster and Cassville. The farm she lives on is taking major damage from both flooding and severe weather, and she's not alone. For a community that depends on agriculture, she's concerned this heavy rain is coming at the worst possible time.
Trying to keep ahead of Mother Nature before she gives us another good downpour wash in, and we're supposed to start doing corn silage here in about 7 to 10 days, and I don't know if it's actually going to happen right now. I don't think we're going to be getting into the fields.
Grant County community members are continuing to recover from heavy rain. Our crew saw multiple farmers taking stock of flooded fields and damaged floodgates for cattle just on the short drive between B-Town and Lancaster.
Rock County crews are still working to make repairs caused by storms there as well, with nearly 20 reports of flooding. One area along the Rock River is especially concerned. It's at risk of being washed away. After Wednesday night storms, a bluff near the Rock River was damaged. Crews worked all of yesterday to make repairs, but residents are concerned.
We're sort of scared we are, because we don't know what's going to happen next, but we just have to see what happens through the night.
The city is working to fill the hole with boulders and reroute the gas that runs through that area. Beloit Public Works says they're now going to continue those repairs as quickly as possible.
Just into the newsroom this morning, nearly a year after first responders were able to stop a workplace shooting before it became deadly, that company is thanking them in a big way. In a Facebook post, Paradigm says they are proud to give back to the community that's given them so much. Last fall, you'll remember, Middleton first responders were able to stop and kill a mass shooter nearly 1 year ago who shot and injured 4 employees at the Paradigm office. Nearly $19,000 is being given to both the fire department and the Middleton EMS.
6:08 right now. We're expecting to hear closing arguments today in the trial of a former priest, William Nolan. He testified in his own defense yesterday, saying he was dumbfounded to hear of the allegations that he sexually assaulted a former altar boy in Fort Atkinson.
Many accusations that he had sexual contact with you whilst in that office on the upper left-hand corner of exhibit number 9, right?
Yes.
You heard him say that?
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Mad, angry,
Why?
because it didn't happen.
The prosecution questioned Nolan about a statement he gave to a police detective last year. Nolan was asked whether he ever kissed the accuser and said he did not recall. He testified that kissing a child would not be a memorable experience because of an occasion he would kiss children at the church on the forehead. Nolan now faces 6 felony charges.
Madison School District says the executive director of its recreation program is no longer employed with them as he faces charges of child pornography in court. A criminal complaint says detectives searched hundreds of emails on Jacob Tissue's computer and found more than 50 child erotica images. This original tip came to them from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Tissue is being charged with 12 counts of possession of child porn. He's due back in court at the end of the month.
The Verona Area School District is talking about rolling out a new safety resource this morning. For the first time, they're introducing a new safety tip line. Students, parents, and staff can submit a tip if they feel threatened by something like violence, weapons, drugs, or anything else. You can text, call, or email anonymously to help keep yourself and those around you safer.
If the tip line wasn't in place and that wasn't there, would that student have shared that? And then what would have happened as a result of us not getting that information?
The tip line email address and number to text can be found on our website, channel3000.com.
Madison police think they found the laptops that were stolen from the Bridge Lake Point Winona Neighborhood Center earlier this week. Officials say a man who was moving into a nearby apartment found someone had shattered his sliding glass door. Police didn't find any intruders inside the empty building, but they did find a box and a plastic tote filled with laptop computers. They say the robber most likely decided to stash those computers in that apartment since it appeared to be unoccupied.
More local news now. An environmental impact statement says that if the 115th Fighter Wing gets new and more advanced jets, its neighbors will see a significant impact, and those who will be impacted have a lot to say about it. Last night, hundreds of community members went to a public meeting where the Air Guard explained what would change with the new jets. Guard members told us that the decibel change for residents won't change much, but many still said they don't support getting the F-35s. They said they don't even like the jets the Guard has now.
The houses shake, the windows shake. I have to stop everything and it feels like war. It just feels like war. And it's terrifying. It's the wrong place for these jets.
There were a lot of people who spoke in support of the new jets, though. They said the change would be a good economic boost to the area. The Guard is still accepting comments on the F-35s until September 27th. 6:11 right now. After last night's Democratic debate, it's pretty clear health care is shaping up to be the hallmark issue for 2020 Democratic presidential hopefuls.
10 candidates stood on stage last night in Houston, where candidates didn't just talk health care. Guns, foreign policy, and education were also central themes throughout the night. Frontrunners like Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren all had different approaches to health care. But what they all agreed on was gun control. It was personal for candidate Beto O'Rourke, whose hometown of El Paso suffered a mass shooting.
Well, yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
After O'Rourke promised that ban, a Texas state representative tweeted what some considered to be a threat. Republican State Representative Briscoe Cain tweeted, quote, "My AR is ready for you, Robert Francis." O'Rourke fired back, calling Cain's words a death threat. The candidate's press secretary says they are reporting it to the FBI. Twitter removed the tweet for violating its safety rules.
New legislation could hold pharmacy benefit managers accountable and lower prescription drug prices.
For the elderly on fixed incomes and families living paycheck to paycheck, PBMs have created a situation that is clearly unfair in order to make record profits off of those who are most vulnerable.
A new Wisconsin coalition called Wisconsin Pharmacy Patient Protection says those middlemen have been manipulating the system instead of saving patients money like they were originally supposed to do. Two bills introduced yesterday would establish price transparency requirements and end the practice of forcing pharmacists to agree to gag clauses. Those provisions prevent pharmacists from telling customers when they can save money by paying the pharmacy's lower cash price instead of the price negotiated by their insurance plan.
6:13 on this Friday the 13th. Still ahead, film critic Will Loper's in studio to talk about what's hitting the theaters this weekend. Till a first look at Britney Runs a Marathon. That's coming up.
And a much drier forecast than we've seen this week. Thank goodness the sun is returning. Hattie will have the latest on that and, of course, the weekend forecast. You're watching News 3 Now this morning. We thank you for that, and we will be right back.
This portion
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio, where things are starting to dry out this morning, which is good news. We definitely need a chance here in southern Wisconsin, and we don't have any rain in the forecast for at least a day or so. Let's take a look at the 24-hour precipitation estimates across southern Wisconsin. Again, we're seeing the purples and reds on this map indicating 2 to 4 inches of rain. Areas around Boscobel picked up over 4 inches just yesterday alone. And if we go back a little bit further, go to the 48-hour precipitation map, you can see just how wet it's been for the entire area. Some parts of southern Wisconsin picking up over 5 inches of rain, even some as close to 8 inches of rain. We'll run down some more rain totals coming up in the next weather, but for the time being, you can see just how wet it has been. Now, good news, the rain is coming to an end for southern Wisconsin. We're not looking for any more showers today. There are some wraparound showers behind the system, and sometimes that happens for us here in southern Wisconsin, but the area of low pressure is actually too far to the north for us to see any of that rain. You can see some of those showers in northern Minnesota this morning. That area of low pressure will track right across southern Canada. So for us, a dry forecast. Now, the clouds are clearing as we speak here in southern Wisconsin, but there are some clouds on the backside of this system that will start to develop here in southern Wisconsin as we head towards the afternoon. So we may see a pretty significant clearing taking place here in Madison within the next hour or so, but then look for more clouds later on today. Temperatures are showing a big contrast across the state. In Milwaukee, it's 70 degrees right now, almost 20 degrees colder in Superior with 51. We're still on the warm side of things here in Madison as well with a temperature of 68 degrees. Dew points have dropped just a touch, but we're still in the 60s, so still feeling pretty muggy outside this morning. Take a look at dew points, though, across Minnesota, 40s and low 50s. We will see our dew points drop through the day today as well. Dew point trend is in the right direction today. We're dropping back into the mid-50s through the afternoon. Now, it will be a little breezy. A cold front is moving through the area, and behind that front, it's a westerly wind around 20 miles an hour, so breezy through the afternoon. Winds should diminish as the sun sets this evening and remain lighter overnight. Your future track forecast model picking up on that clearing this morning, but it's kind of short-lived. The clouds build back in as we head towards the afternoon. Temperatures will be right around 70 degrees. As we head into this evening, look for temperatures to drop more quickly. We'll start out in the low to mid-50s tomorrow morning. Pretty nice weekend forecast, though, when you look at the entire weekend. Saturday looks gorgeous with a high of 76 under mostly sunny skies. There is just a chance for some showers or thunderstorms overnight Saturday night into early Sunday morning. Otherwise, it's going to warm up around here once again. Humidity returns as well as high temperatures go back into the 80s. Let's get a look at your News 3 Now First Alert traffic this morning. We'll send it over to Jason Stone for all the details. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. No delays on the Beltline as commuters are beginning to move around. Vehicles are starting to line up on the Stoughton and Verona interchanges. Only minor delays on Verona Road at Highway PD. Otherwise, all routes into Madison and around Dane County are clear. And no issues up and down the Isthmus and on campus at this time. With your First Alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Jason and Hattie, thank you both very much. So we all know how hard it is to get motivated and exercise, and this weekend a new movie in theaters is showing that struggle.
Oh yeah, the movie is Brittany Runs a Marathon, and here with the preview is our film critic, Will Loper. Good morning, Will.
Good morning, guys. Here I thought bench pressing buckets of popcorn in the movie theater was doing the trick, but with any luck, this movie will inspire me and other audience members to get up and go that extra mile. Take a look.
Let's get you healthy. I want you to try losing 55 pounds.
That's the weight of a Siberian Husky. You want me to pull a medium-sized working dog off of my body.
Jillian Bell is Brittany, who has to face reality and make drastic changes to her lifestyle.
I need to get a teeny bit healthier.
We have rates as low as $129 a month.
You do know that people can run outside. That is zero. I'm block. I ran today.
Why the hell you do that? Somebody chasing you or something? You can do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing it.
Sorry, I'm talking to myself.
Brittany Runs a Marathon is rated R.
Today, I want to run the New York City Marathon.
I think that is such a good idea.
That's a bad omen.
Hold it.
I love her.
Yeah, and apparently she really lost 40 pounds during the filming of that movie.
Oh my
I know, because I was
Wow.
watching the trailer and I'm like, you know, she looks skinnier at this point, and then I found out that she did go ahead and lose that weight.
Wow.
Yeah.
The fact that actors have to do that is pretty impressive.
Yeah, Christian Bale does it every other movie.
Exactly.
But it's getting great reviews, and they're saying Jillian Bell just carries it. She's normally known as kind of the sidekick or the funny, you know, side character in a movie, but she really takes the lead and shows she's got the chops.
All right, you'll have a review on Monday?
Sure will, yep.
All right, as always, Will, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Still ahead this morning, in case Friday the 13th wasn't enough to get you in a Halloween-y mood, just look up. We're giving you a sneak peek of why tonight's sky is going to really kick off fall. That's coming up after the break.
But first, after a wet few days, we are starting to dry things out just in time for the weekend. Look at that. Is that some clearing?
What?
What is that,
We'll take
son?
it.
Patty's up next with your forecast. Stay with us. .25 on a Friday morning, and if you've taken a peek outside, look at that. Clearing.
Look at the back edge of the clouds.
It was loud last night. Holy cow.
I feel like it's been loud 3 nights
Seriously.
in a row. Feeling a little tired this week. I don't know about you guys. The weather pattern is changing. That's the good news. Skies are clearing this morning. The rain has already moved out of the area. It's out over Lake Michigan. No more rain in the forecast today, so that's the good news. We do have some clearing taking place this morning, but I think some clouds will build back in for the afternoon, so not completely sunny today. The good news is dew points are going in the right direction. It's been pretty darn sticky around here. Dew points will steadily drop through the morning into the mid-50s this afternoon. So that means in the schoolrooms today, it's not going to be as comfortable. Temperatures will be in the 60s to around 70 for a high. We'll see some peaks of sunshine here and there as well, with much quieter weather. Just a little breezy through the afternoon with a stronger west wind. Have a wonderful Friday.
Thank you very much, Hattie. Before we get to our trending segment this morning, our Coats for Kids drive is continuing, and it just got a big boost in our last count. We are up to 319 coats collected so far this week, after another 119 were donated since just yesterday morning. We want to give a shout out to Stanley Robinson and the Superhero Club over at Madison Memorial High. They are helping out with collection bins at their school. Very cool thought, folks. We want to encourage other schools to do the same. We so appreciate it. Now that goes for you at home as well. We're looking for coats and winter accessories of all sizes, especially kids stuff, before it gets cold outside. So make sure you check your closets for any outgrown or seldom used winter stuff. Basically any winter gear is what we're looking for. You can drop them off at any Clinky Cleaners through Saturday, October 5th.
It is Friday the 13th, and if that isn't already spooky enough for you, Mother Nature has another reason to get you into the spirit. We'll have a full moon tonight, and since it's the full moon closest to the autumnal equinox or the beginning of fall, it's known as the harvest moon. It got its name because it provides extra light in the evenings, which extends harvesting time for farmers. The best time to get a peek of the moon is actually at 12:30 tomorrow morning, and in case you're wondering, the last time a harvest moon fell on a Friday the 13th was back in October of 2000.
So cool. All right, millions of Americans are expected to travel this fall, and taking advantage of a so-called shoulder season could mean flight and hotel savings. A new survey from TripAdvisor found out where people are flying to this season. Topping the list, Las Vegas. Also making the top 5, Orlando, Florida, and Honolulu. New York got bumped from number 3 last year to number 5 this time around. International travel also increasing, with London as the 3rd most popular this year. It didn't even make the list last year. Rome and Paris are also in the top 10.
I'm ready for a trip.
Well, luckily you're headed to Nebraska this weekend,
yes, I
huh?
am. Yeah, checking out with some other friends and some previous coworkers from my last station.
We were laughing earlier because Josh and I are so Midwestern. We don't go to Rome or to Paris. We go to
here.
Nebraska. I'm going to Duluth in a couple of weeks.
Or Minnesota, Michigan. We always stay right here.
Yeah.
We save the warm weather destinations for when it's cold.
We're Midwesty.
We love it here.
We do. All right, still ahead, we have the top 3 things you need to know as you head out the door on your Friday morning.
Also ahead, we're taking a look at how folks in the Dells are remembering a member in their community with the color purple. Thanks for watching News 3 Now this morning. Stay with us.
Ashley.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us on this Friday, September 13th. We're happy we made it to Friday, and I tell you what, I need some stinking sunshine, Hattie. This is ridiculous.
Well, you know, take a look at this shot. There's a little bit of sun in the shot from the Edgewater Sky Cam. The good news, we do have some sun in the forecast
I just have to
today.
take a moment and just
bask in it.
More importantly, no rain.
No rain.
No rain.
Oh my gosh, it's been a long time since we've said that.
Yes, it's been a long week.
All right,
we'll get to the best news of the morning coming up in just a minute here. But first, here are the top 3 things you need to know on your Friday morning. Healthcare is shaping up to be the hallmark issue for 2020 in the Democratic presidential hopefuls. 10 Democratic candidates debated last night for 3 hours in Houston. In addition to healthcare reform, they also tackled gun violence, trade, and immigration. The next Democratic debate is scheduled for October 15th in Ohio.
Up next, we're talking about the Cubs and the Brewers, who are still tied for second in the NL wildcard spot. Both teams won their respective games yesterday, with less than 20 games left in the season. And MVP Christian Yelich, who's out with a knee injury. The Brewers are now on a 7-game win streak, and they play the NL Central League Cardinals tonight in St. Louis. That game starts at 7:15.
And the third story we're following this morning. President Trump says he would prefer a complete agreement with China, but he's leaving the door open for a limited deal. The Wall Street Journal is reporting China would like to keep negotiations to only trade matters in hopes of getting a deal done quickly. The two sides have also been talking about restrictions on intellectual property and investments.
All right, those are your top 3 things to know this morning. And I'm going to give Hattie a round of applause because we got some sunshine on the way just in time for the weekend.
That's true, Josh and Leah. Really, the weather's shaping up as we head towards the weekend. It has been a wet week, to say the least, here in southern Wisconsin. So nice to see that even a little bit of sunshine early this morning. Here's a look from the WISC-TV Skycam as we look towards the east. Our rain has moved out of the area. That's the good news. No more rain in the forecast. Temperatures are still quite mild this morning, although to the west, we're starting to see them drop back. 63 now in Lone Rock, down to 62 in Prairie du Chien, and 60 in Viroqua. Contrast that with 68 here in Madison, Janesville, and Watertown. So our temps are likely to drop a little bit yet here in Madison. We'll only climb a few degrees today to a high of 70. West winds will be a little breezy at times this afternoon, but lower humidity is expected. Here's a look at those traffic maps now. So far this morning, it's been pretty good here in the Madison area. It is starting to get a little busier in those typical spots, the interchange of Beltline and Stoughton Road, as well as Highway 14 and the Beltline. No major delays or accidents to report right now. Just keep in mind, if you encounter a flooded road this morning, turn around, don't drown. You don't know if that road has washed out below those floodwaters. And that's your first alert traffic.
Hattie, thank you very much. Right now, the Wisconsin Dells is turning purple through lights, posters, and electronic billboards. And it's all for someone who made a shining impression on her community.
Heather Field Sweet died Thursday morning after a battle with cancer. The community is remembering her by celebrating who she was. Her friends say she was loved for her contagious laugh and energetic personality. Melissa Henry recalls how many lives Heather touched during her lifetime.
Our lives will never be the same. They're better because of her, but we will go on because she wanted us to go on, and we will be okay, just not today.
Heather's friends hosted a fundraiser last night. All of the money raised will go to a scholarship in her name. Great way to honor someone.
Yeah, certainly so. 6:36 is your time this morning. Coming up in the morning sprint, we're going to have the latest on flash flooding that closed and delayed several schools today.
And it's the weekend here in the 608. Coming up, we're taking a look at a couple of events happening that we think you should check out. This is News 3 Now This Morning. Thanks for watching. We're back after the break. right, instead of showing you our morning this morning, I decided to show you a little sneak preview of my Friday evening. I am participating in RHUMBA for Rainbow tonight. That's the charity dance competition, and I had to learn a little salsa. This is a lift during that dance. Here's hoping I don't drop.
You're gonna do just fine. I know you're quite nervous about it, but you're gonna do wonderful. I just know it.
Hey, it is Friday the 13th. You never know.
Yeah, but it's gonna be lucky for you. It has to be.
Fingers crossed.
You've been putting a lot of time in for this, and no matter what happens, you're going to do fantastic. It's for a great cause. You got to think of what it's for in the long run, right?
Josh is such a supporter, and I'm having the most fun with it. Anybody from my neck of the woods knows Betty Hayes School of Dance. I was in it for 15 years, so it's fun to pick that right back up. And of course, it's for a great cause. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, head on over to channel3000.com. And I should mention, Dana Fulton also joining me.
Yeah, two of our Lucky News 3 Now ladies are going to be up there tonight, and you guys are both going to crush it. I just know it. So good luck to you.
Please come and take it all in and support us. We would so appreciate that.
I can't wait to see videos of it. It's going to be so good.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be great. All right, if you've got a morning you'd like to share with us, all you have to do is send us a photo over on our Facebook page.
Okay, it is almost the weekend in the 608. Here's what's happening around Madison.
On Saturday, the Monroe Street Festival will be packed with vendors, food, and beverage carts. The Saturday-only festival will have tons of activities for kids, including face painting, a sidewalk art contest, a bouncy castle, and animals from the Henry Vilas Zoo. Local groups, including Forward Marching Band and Mad City Funk, will be playing on the music stage.
The Willy Street Fair also happening this weekend, which doubles as the World Music Festival. The annual event brings music from, you guessed it, across the world to the Memorial Union and the Willy Street Fair this weekend. Organizers say they hope it helps Madisonians better understand the world and its many cultures. For kids, it's an opportunity to expose them to some new instruments as well, possibly consider picking one up themselves. Today, the event will be at Memorial Union on UW-Madison's campus. Tomorrow, it will be held over at the Willy Street Fair.
And of course, with all of that fun comes street closures. So we have a lot to talk about right here. 3 blocks of Willy Street will be closed between South Livingston and South Ingersoll Streets. That starts at noon on Saturday until 10 o'clock Sunday night. Sorry, the 300 blocks of South Patterson and South Burley Streets will also be closed at those times. I apologize, we just dropped some papers. So because of the parade on Sunday, more streets will be closed between 11 a.m. and noon. You're taking a look at those stretches up on your screen right now. Friday the 13th, people, we're going to have all of this up on channel3000.com. You know, when you don't have your script and you kind of lose, that's what happens.
It's Friday the 13th, folks. We're holding it together.
All right, so coming up next, we're going to take a live look outside. We get to your forecast, a live look right there. That is so next. But first, it is Friday, September 13th. As we mentioned, we want to say happy birthday to Evan and all the other kids during the day.
Thank you so much for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning. We'll be right back.
Look
All right, Josh, cue the singing. Here comes the sun.
No singing voice today.
We don't want to lose it on air again.
We don't need to lose it again.
We won't start giggling, but boy, what a beautiful look, especially after 3 days of rain.
I feel like we've just been kind of not ourselves this week, and I feel like a lot of people can say the same thing. Without the sunshine, you know, you can only take so many clouds.
It's the sunshine or Friday the 13th. I'm
That
not
too.
superstitious, Hattie, but I'm starting to wonder.
It's all
Help us
working
out,
against
Hattie.
us. It's working against us this morning, but we will see what we can do. Better forecast coming up for the weekend. Nice look behind me. Here's from the Edgewater Sky Cam. A little bit of clearing taking place overhead. That's encouraging. The flood watches have been allowed to expire, but there are some aerial flood warnings for a few spots that got particularly heavy rain over the last few days. Many roads flooded in and around southwestern Wisconsin, and then from Janesville over to the southeastern corner of the state. So the National Weather Service is keeping those flood warnings in effect for another couple of hours. Here's a look at some of the rain reports that I've been able to gather over the last week, adding up all of the rain going back to the 8th of September. 7 3/4 inches in Lancaster, over 5 inches in Beloit. Kenosha picked up over 4. There you can see some other numbers from our viewing area in the 3 to 3.5 inch range. Madison on the bottom of this list with 3.21 inches of rain, but that's still a tremendous amount of rain for this time of the year. Here's a look at the radar map. Good news, things are dry across southern Wisconsin. As we zoom the map out to the entire Midwest, you will see some wraparound showers, northern Minnesota, southern parts of Canada. This storm system is well to our north. The actual area of low pressure will rotate across southern Canada, so that'll keep any rain activity to our north through the day today. Skies are clearing behind this cold front, but there are some clouds that are tough to see on the map across southern Minnesota and northern parts of Iowa. So I do expect some clouds to develop as we head towards the afternoon. Here's a look at your airport delays this morning. No delays right here or at any of the major airports across the country. So if today is your escape day, looking pretty good. Pack the shorts if you're headed to the south. Warm temperatures continue, and that warm and humid air continues to move off to the south and east. Atlanta tops at 97 today, 94 in Dallas, 106 in Phoenix. Contrast that with significantly cooler conditions for the Great Lakes. You see some of those green shaded colors indicating highs only in the 50s today. Here's a look at our current temperatures. Still on the warm side of things with 68 here in Madison. It drops to 58 though in Minneapolis. Dew points are falling as well. Now we're down another couple of degrees to a dew point of 65. Those numbers will continue to fall through the day. That dew point is going in the right direction today. Southwesterly winds this morning will be shifting to the west as a cold front moves through the region, and they'll be rather strong this afternoon, right around 20 miles an hour. So breezy conditions, but cooler temperatures and much more comfortable weather today. Here's that clearing early today, but then watch the clouds kind of roll in from the west. So variably cloudy skies through the afternoon with temperatures right around 70 degrees. It's likely going to stay in the 60s though north of Dane County. Temperatures will drop rather quickly tonight with mostly clear skies. We will start tomorrow morning in the 50s. Here's your weekend forecast. 76 on Saturday with sunshine. It does get a little warmer on Sunday. We're back to 80 with more humidity. Our pet walk forecast.
Oh, honey.
Vinney in Cambridge. Love it. Curled up in a sunny spot. Okay, that's great. Vinney, she's not a black cat.
That sounded more like a black cat, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Not a black cat. Vinny's just fine today. He'll be curled up taking a nap this afternoon.
What a cutie.
I think we all deserve a nap.
Yeah.
Josh needs a nap for
I
sure.
need a nap.
It's always a good day for a nap.
That's very true. Thank you very much, Hattie.
You're welcome.
All right, the morning sprint is up next, but first here's Tony DeCopa with what's ahead at 7 o'clock. Hi, Tony.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, front-runner friction. New divisions emerge at the third Democratic presidential debate. We'll tell you how the tense moments could shape the future of the campaign. Plus, we'll introduce you to the oldest living World War II veteran at 110. Lawrence Brooks tells us the key to his long life. See you at 7.
6:53, time for the morning sprint as we get you out the door with the most local news.
We're going to start with meteorologist Hattie McLean tracking a much quieter forecast this morning. Some good news, Hattie.
Rain has come to an end. Skies are clearing already this morning for southern Wisconsin, so some sunshine as you start your Friday. Dew points are going in the right direction today, and that's down. Lower humidity through the afternoon with dew points in the mid-50s. Temperatures will still top in the upper 60s to around 70, but it will be breezy today. Take a look at this west wind, 15 to 20 miles an hour.
Hattie, thank you very much. Kids in Boscobel and the Wazeeka-Steuben school districts won't have school today, and kids in Fenimore are on a 2-hour delay with some roads in southwestern Wisconsin being considered impassable after more heavy rain and flash floods overnight. Flash flooding brought on by the rain also washed out some roads in Dodgeville.
In other parts of the state, farmers in Kenosha are concerned about their crops this morning. Flooded greenhouses and fields can ruin crops and will cause some produce, like pumpkins, to rot from the inside out. The city of Kenosha is also having issues from all of the rain, as their water treatment plant is processing almost 8 times the normal amount of water.
Rock County crews are still working to make some repairs after Wednesday night storms. A bluff near the Rock River is damaged. Crews worked all the way through yesterday to make those repairs, and the city is working to fill the hole with boulders and reroute the gas that runs through that area. Beloit Public Works tells us they're going to continue repairs as quickly as possible.
The Middleton-based software company that saw a mass shooting last year is donating money to local fire districts and the emergency medical service. Nearly $19,000 is being given to both the Middleton Fire Department and Middleton EMS. First responders were able to stop and kill the shooter nearly 1 year ago. 4 employees were shot, but no one was killed.
We're expecting to hear closing arguments today in the trial of a former priest, William Nolan. He testified in his own defense yesterday, saying he was dumbfounded to hear of all the allegations that he sexually assaulted a former altar boy in Fort Atkinson. Nolan is facing 6 felony charges.
Madison School District says the executive director of its after-school program is no longer employed, as Jacob Tissue faces charges of child pornography. Detectives say they found 48 child erotica images and 12 images meeting the Wisconsin's law definition of child pornography in Tissue's emails. He's being charged with 12 counts of possession of child porn.
President Trump says he'd prefer a complete agreement with China, but is leaving the door open for a limited trade deal this morning. The Wall Street Journal reports China would like to keep negotiations to only trade matters in hopes of getting a deal done quickly. The two sides have also been talking about restrictions on intellectual property and investments.
Healthcare is shaping up to be the hallmark issue for the 2020 Democratic presidential hopefuls. 10 Democratic candidates debated last night for 3 hours in Houston. In addition to healthcare reform, they also tackled gun violence, trade, and immigration. The next Democratic debate is scheduled for October 15th in Ohio.
Actress Felicity Huffman is set to be sentenced today in the college admissions scandal. Huffman pleaded guilty to 2 mail fraud-related charges. Huffman admitted she paid $15,000 to bump up her daughter's SAT scores.
The Cubs and Brewers are still tied for the second NL wildcard spot. Both teams won their respective games yesterday. With less than 20 games left in the season and MVP Christian Yelich out with a knee injury, the Brewers are on a 7-game win streak after sweeping the Marlins. They play the NL Central leading Cardinals tonight in St. Louis. That game starts at 7:15.
It is 6:56. Jason Stone is here with a final look at your first alert traffic. Hi, Jason.
Hello. No incidents or delays on the Beltline this morning. Vehicles are at or near the posted speed limit on all lanes. Minor lining up at the intersections on John Nolan, but nothing to be concerned about at this time. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
All right, some good news, Jason. Thank you very much.
And the good news is that the rain has come to an end. Take a live look from the Edgewater Sky Cam. Still a little hazy outside, a little muggy still this morning, but dew points will be falling steadily through the day. That means it'll feel much more comfortable this afternoon. Temperatures should top right around 70 here at Madison with variably cloudy skies. More sun in the forecast this weekend.
All right, good news, sunshine, Hattie. We love it. Thank you.
And thanks so much for joining us on your Friday the 13th, folks. Enjoy that sun. Have a great weekend, and we will see you back here Monday morning. From a